Ultra?
Sure. Check. Hey, what's up? My name is SAWATARIX, aka SAWATARIX. I'm a Magic player and I paint tokens for other MTG players.
Brainstorm?
We from where red lights mean go, green lights mean faster. Red and blues from behind, move slow till they pass you.
Stoneforge Mystic Activation.
Sure.
Und den Germ Token bringe ich rein.
What's up, everyone? What is up, everyone? My name is SAWATARIX, aka SAWATARIX. Welcome back to the stream. I had a like a 2-week not vacation, but like I was kind of like on the run the most time. I went to Luxembourg for the first time for the Legacy ELM qualifier, and I had a blast, dude. I gotta show you some pictures in a second, and definitely shout out to Mana Temple. I had a fantastic time playing lots of Magic. I had my SAWATARIX booth there. I met a lot of incredible people, and yeah, just, you know, went to Luxembourg for the first time. So I didn't know that there was a big scene, so I was really surprised to see that in a good way. And today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about. We're gonna take a look at what Legacy, the format Legacy looks like. As for today is May 5th, 2025. So a lot of things have changed. Some things are still the same. I've got to take a look at that. And bonus, if we have a little bit of time left over, I'm also going to play a little bit of Ad Nauseam Tendrils. But that's, you know, depending on like how much time we actually kill before that, right? That being said, welcome to the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, on Twitch, make sure to, you know, click that subscribe button or like button, you know, all that kind of jazz. So what's up? Silent Storm, Svenja, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate it, y'all. Cool. And again, this video will be on YouTube later. So like if you miss anything, then no worries, it will be up on my YouTube channel, which is SAWATARIX. All right. So before we go into this all like legacy stuff, I just quickly want to, yeah, as I said, like I want to shout out to the Luxembourg community. Holy fucking shit, dude. It was good. So here you can see Ty. Ty's also half Japanese, just as I am. And he opened, I think he quit his job. I think he was like a teacher at a university or something like that in Paris. And then he quit his job just because he wanted to open a fucking Magic the Gathering store, you know? And I was like, dude, this is insane. I fucking love this so much. Maybe more people should just quit their regular jobs and open like Magic stores. Like it worked out for him. So I don't know. Like, if you know, if I'm just letting you know, guys, if you feel very unhappy with your job, maybe it is time to quit your job and open a fucking LGS. So think about that, right? So we have, yeah. So again, Thai and his store, dude. His store was phenomenal. I don't think I've been to many stores where it's like this clean. You know, there was like. Like the tables, I don't know if you can see the tables, but like the tables, this is like so like it's very nicely done, really nice wood. I think it's real wood. Maybe it's not, I don't know. I hope it's real wood. And yeah, like nice chairs. I think they already got their WPN status for the store, or maybe not. If they don't have WPN now, they should definitely apply, because I think they got a Wizards of the Coast is gonna go like to all the check marks, boom, 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 done. You know, like because there's nothing in the store that I found like disturbing or really like, you know, anything negative. So, what do you think about Bazaar boxes and Tokyo Championship Doomsday top 8 lists, dude? I gotta take a look at that. Can you send me a link to the Bazaar boxes ones, because I don't think I've had a chance to look at it yet, but we can definitely take a look at it together here on stream. And yeah, so this was a Saturday event, and it was a Legacy LM qualifier, and I think there were a couple more people, I think, who didn't, like, who maybe dropped early or something like that, because we took this photo relatively close to the end of the tournament, I think. And I was also there, and the coolest part, and this is something I'm gonna mention. I mentioned on the no, did I mention it on the podcast? Maybe not. I'm gonna mention it at some point, but for from here on now, I think I'm gonna change my booth a little bit. So the SAWATARIX booth is gonna be the place where you can get your tokens and playmats and all that kind of jazz. But I will also participate in the actual tournament. I think there's like a lot of engagement there. Like just in this one, like I played against so many people who also like watched my streams and stuff, and it was really nice to be in the same tournament. You know what I mean? Like, because like we were all part of the same thing in this store, at least on that day. So that was really cool. Okay, let me save the Doomsday deck for a bit. Am I done talking about Luxembourg? Oh yeah, this is also like, this is me trying to focus. Check this out. Like I'm semi-focused. But yeah, this is like how it looked like. I think I have like an undercity. Wait, hold on. I have undercity sewers here. A Lotus Petal, a couple of underground. I think this is a Doomsday. Oh yeah, shit. I think Doomsday. I just put Doomsday on the stack. I think an opponent was like thinking about if they want to like counter this or not. I think so. It was kind of like an intense moment, I think. Oh shit, this was my round 1 opponent. My round 1 opponent was on blue-white Stifle Knot, which, dude, I think it's the worst matchup. It has to be the worst matchup for Doomsday, because they play so many Stifles and stuff. So, but we had an unintentional draw. Yeah, so like we both started the tournament with a draw. I think we both also made it into the top 8. Yeah, and like I get this comment all the time, like, why, like, Kai, why do you play why don't you use a playmat? Because you have so many. That's a very good question, dude. That is an excellent question. I don't know. Why didn't I use a playmat? I don't know. Because there's so many right here. You know, I see like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 2 more, 4, 5. Yeah. So the playmats are there. But for some fucking reason, I just didn't use one. I don't know. And this is not the first time when it happened, right? All right. So, yeah, shout out to the guys again. Like, if you're in the Luxembourg area, it's close to Belgium. It's close to the west part of Germany. It's also close to France, I think. And maybe some other countries too. But yeah, really, really nice. Can only recommend. All right. Let's go to the Legacy metagame and what to expect. So this is also for players who maybe just picked up the format. You know, you don't exactly know what you're gonna face. And obviously, like, the format is just like super big, so you can technically play against kind of any deck, as you can see right here, even against like, I don't know, Wizards or Merfolk, you know, like those decks still kind of, yeah, they kind of exist. I even played against Merfolk in the ELM qualifier in Luxembourg. But I got surprised because like the Merfolks got a couple of updates in the most recent sets. Like there were a few Merfolks that I haven't seen in Legacy so far. I've seen them a lot in Standard, and sometimes Modern, but not so much in Legacy. So it's kind of cool to see like an upgrade or update on the Legacy Merfolk deck as well. That was pretty cool. But yeah, as you can see, like you can play against so many archetypes. Even fucking Nickfit is down there, and Team America. Dude, Team America. What the hell does Team America look like? Okay, it's a blank white page. This is how Team America looks like. It's just like a blank white page. 18 lands. I'm just very curious. Wait, why is this? Wait, why is there 4 copies of Abundant Growth? Okay. Never mind. Okay, so I picked the top 8 decks like on this is like the Japanese metagame. I love to take inspiration stuff from Japanese decks as well. Like I used to play Magic for 10 years, I think, in Tokyo, and I played so much Magic, and I like the innovation. I think Japanese players have a lot of like crazy ideas, and they just kind of like just try it out, you know what I mean? Like that's also kind of like my spirit, so definitely up for that. So on the, yeah, and this is like going like you know, like the most played deck, and the most like results and stuff, and then it kind of goes like all the way down, right? That's how it goes. So let me also do it in English for you just real quick. So we have on number 1, we have blue-black tempo, or a blue-black reanimator, followed by blue-black tempo. And I'm just gonna show you a couple of decks, deck lists. So the reanimator deck can look something like this, right? So we have the lands. Sometimes you have wasteland, sometimes you don't. It kind of depends on the deck. And then you have like Atraxa Grand Unifier, Archon of Cruelty. Like these are like the big bombs, right? Like these are this is like the real like the beefy stuff you want to get in your graveyard first with Entomb, and then you reanimate it with Reanimate or Animate Dead. There's also like a plan B kind of thing with Doughty Voidwalker, Murktide Region, so you can also kind of kill opponents without even attempt to combo out, right? Striped Riverwinder is a card that a lot of people tried out alongside other cycling cards, I think, after Troll of Khazad-dûm got banned, because it's kind of like, it's kind of intuitive, right? Like if a cycler gets banned from a format, like why don't you just take another big cycler? This one is blue, so it can also be pitched to force, which is neat. It's a 5/5, and I think it has Shroud or Hexproof. I think it has Shroud. I think so, yeah. It's a 5/5. So, but this is like much worse than Troll of Khazad-dûm, because it can easily be chump blocked. No problem, right? Like the problem of Troll of Khazad-dûm was like its size. It was a 6/5, I think, but also like you cannot block this dude. Like you need 3 creatures to block Troll of Khazad-dûm, and you know, like when do you ever have 3 creatures ready to block Troll of Khazad-dûm in Legacy? Not very common.
Thanks
not very common.
Subscription.
Yo. Oops, all subscription.
Nice, dude. Sishi, what's up, dude? What is up?
Yeah, boy.
Thank you so much for tuning in, dude. So yeah, so I'm kind of curious on, like, you know, if this is like something you really want to do. There's also like arguments like to drop this idea entirely. As you can see, like the Striped Riverwinder in this deck list, this is like it was in Osaka, and I think it was the KMC Team Legacy event, and yeah, so it was a Team Legacy event. Maybe there were some overlaps or so, but as you can see, like there are only 3 copies of the Riverwinder, right? So already we are taking a little bit of a step back from the from the like cycle into reanimate thing, and we kind of focus more on like, you know, the actual reanimate stuff. Doughty Voidwalker is really nice too, as it kind of, you know, has a lot of text against the mirror too. So yeah, and then the sideboard like has basically like a bunch of cards that you can bring in, and you can swap them for the combo, right? Like you can take out Atraxa, Archon of Cruelty and stuff. You can bring in Barrowgoyfs and like, and all of a sudden like all the Tormod scripts and like other graveyard hate cards like Fairy Macabre and Surgical, like they don't really do anything against your deck because you're blue-black mid-range deck. So that's number one. Not surprised to see it on the very top. It is a very strong archetype. It is fast. It's difficult to hate. And this deck can pretty much win against any archetype, I think. I don't think this deck has many bad matchups, like horrendous matchups, right? So if you want to pick up a deck for a tournament, I would definitely recommend a deck like this. You don't have to play it exact the same 75, but I think there are a couple of cool, unique choices too. So, and yeah, let's move to the next deck, which is our Blue-Black Tempo. It sees a little bit less play than Blue-Black Reanimator, but it's technically like the same archetype, except you're missing the combo. So like in this deck is from Tomizawa, which is like one of my best friends from Tokyo. He's been playing Legacy for a trillion years. I think he also has a couple of Grand Prix top 8s, I think. And he's just overall a very competitive, good Legacy player. Yeah, he's always been like that. And he's also very good with cut prices. So like whenever he doesn't do well at a tournament, like he just kind of goes around, you know, trade stuff and blah blah blah. All right, so he went 4-1 at the tournament center in Tokyo, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but like the competition in Tokyo is very high. The best players in all of Japan are mostly from Tokyo. I want to say, like, you can always see it in Grand Prix where, like, on day 2, the majority of players are from the Tokyo area. So, if you go 4-1 in the tournament center in Tokyo, that really speaks for you. I don't think I've had many. I mean, I had a couple, but like, it's tough. It's tough. Anyway, so, it's interesting. This is like blue-black, but Shin splashed red for Pyroblast and Meltdown, which is really interesting. Very unique choice. You don't see this every time. I honestly don't dislike it, because the like blue-black decks have such a hard time dealing with blue planeswalkers, you know, so you have Pyroblast for that, and like Meltdown effects are so unique, you don't get that in blue-black. And if you run like the minimal cost of like 1 Volcanic Island and 1 Badlands, I don't think that hurts you too much. But yeah, this is kind of close to, if you played like blue-black mid-range in Standard, for example, this is your deck, dude. This is your archetype. You play Kaitos, you play Sheoldred's Edicts, you have the Thoughtseize, Forces, so you have a lot of disruption there, and you have a lot of cheap creatures that you can pick up for ninjutsu, which are like, I think the best ones to pick up are Baleful Strix, right here, and Okish Bowmasters. Like, those are excellent cards to pick up for ninjutsu. And then you have like Tamiyo and Voidwalker, and Murktide Region 2. So like really like a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different creatures, like a really diverse combination of threats. And then like you have the 3 copies of Kaito, which like you really take over the mid long game, you know. So what else? Yeah, and sometimes you see the full playset of Wasteland, sometimes you don't. It depends. Like Doughty Voidwalker, for example, like costs black. Baleful Strix costs blue-black, so a Wasteland actually kind of hurts you sometimes, especially if you don't have another land. And on. Okay. And then the sideboard has like, this is very interesting. 2 copies of Reanimate in the sideboard. This is really interesting. I haven't seen this very often in sideboards. 2 copies of reanimate. Probably, like you can side them in against blue reanimator. That'd be kind of funny. And you can thought these your sneak and show opponents, take their Atroxa and then reanimate Atroxa. Pretty nasty, I think. And then the surgicals and counters and whatnot. So yeah, very solid deck, fair deck in Legacy. Probably one of the fairest decks, and a lot of fun to play. I played this deck like a few times. It is addictive. It is highly addictive. All the games go a little differently. Like sometimes you tempo out your opponent, sometimes you gain that mid-range late game value with Kaito, and like games can go so many different directions. This deck is, if you like casting cantrips and if you enjoy like the mid-range fair stuff in Legacy, then this deck is definitely for you. So, all right. What's number 3? Number 3 is Nadu. No surprise. I'm gonna talk like Nadu and Cephalid Breakfast are very close to each other. They have like a somewhat of a similar core. So the Nadu deck basically goes kind of all in on Nadu. Like we see the Nadus here, we have Shukos, we have Nomads and Cores, and then we back it up with forces. We have 6 of them in this deck list. This is from the top 4 of the Haruya Kishijoji store, which is like a smaller store, but it still has like what, like 70 seats or so. Like it's like still like reasonably big. So yeah, we play 6 forces in this one. Stifles, very interesting to see those. Cool fit as well. And then yeah, the Nadu combo, as I mentioned, you can also cast Nadu very reliably with Delighted Halfling. So that's cool stuff. Interesting to see the Cup, Scarlet Cat Cup, 2 mana 2/2, and it grows, has trample, has landfall and stuff. So very interesting to see this as well. But since you play Green Sun Zenith already, I think like, I don't know, I think I would probably play 4 Zeniths and 3 Cups. That's just my initial gut reaction. But I mean, I'm not the one who made it this far with this deck. There's a single copy of Uro, which I think is really cool. The Keen-Eye Curator, that's good stuff too. Murktide Regent, as again, like you don't have to go Nadu, right? That's the strong part about this deck. You can also just beat face with Murktide Regent and like Uros and stuff, and have like a Swords of Plowshares, Force of Will, like fair game plan. Also, like I didn't even mention Ursa Saga. Like the amount of times I see people like losing to construct tokens is insane. Like so many games are won by random constructs, just because opponents run out of removal, because they removed like all the Murktides and other things, and then like they slowly die to 3/3 constructs or 4/4 constructs. So that's in there as well. The sideboard has it's mainly like toolbox-ish. It has a lot of one-offs. Lavinia, big fan. Carpet of Flowers, Containment Priests, and Pithing Needle. Ghost Vacuum. There's a lot of graveyard hate. Like 2 Containment Priests, Ghost Vacuum, and Fairy Macabre. Yeah, definitely understandable, given how popular Uppsal's Belts is. So okay, you gotta be a little careful though. Like Containment Priest, playing Containment Priest in your Green Sun Zenith deck can kind of bite you, right? Because if this guy is on the battlefield, you cannot Green Sun Zenith, I think. Yeah, you probably shouldn't Green Sun Zenith, because nothing's gonna happen, or like the creature's actually gonna get exiled. So okay, yeah, so banned Nadu, and then we have the Cephalid Breakfast Nadu deck. This is, if I personally had to pick a Nadu deck, I would probably always go for the Cephalid Breakfast deck, because I think this deck is more like straight to the point. Like it does one thing, and it does it very well. Yeah, like in this one, you pretty much go all in on the A plus B combos, right? Like you have Cephalid Illusionist plus Nadu. I know, Cephalid, holy smokes. Cephalid Illusionist plus Shuko, or plus Nomad's Encore. You mill your entire library, you cast Red Return, sacrificing all your Narcomoebas, and you have a lethal Thassa's Oracle. All this with Force of Will backup. Very powerful. But you can also, instead of Cephalid Illusionist, you can also like just get your Nadu. You know, Nadu combos very nicely with Shuko and Nomad's Encore. I talked about it on the other deck list. And then you kind of outvalue your opponent. What I very much like in this deck is it has 4 copies of Voice of Victory, dude. 4. Not 1. This is not a fun off. This is... In this deck list, this is from Ito Shusaku, and this is even like clean 5-0 in the Haruya Tournament Center in Tokyo. This is insane. 4 copies. 4 copies of Voice of Victory. For everyone who doesn't know it, 2 mana, 1/3, mobilize 2. So you get like tokens that attack and stuff. But more importantly, it says your opponent cannot cast spells during your turn. So if you have Voice of Victory down, you can follow it up with any of the combo pieces, because your opponent's not going to be able to interact with you. Very difficult card to handle. Also, it is pretty difficult to counter Voice of Victory. I think the main selling point why I would always play Voice of Victory instead of Orim's Chant or Silence is that Orim's Chant, you can Spell Pierce, you can Flusterstorm, you can Force Negate, you can counter with so many different things, right? But Voice of Victory is a creature, so like you have to Force Will it, or you have to Daze it. And spoiler alert, like I think when your opponent casts Voice of Victory, they usually have mana open because they want to follow up with some other stuff. So like you can't even Daze Voice of Victory. And you obviously also cannot remove it with Soul to Plowshares or Lightning Bolt, because if this guy's on the battlefield, you're not going to be able to cast any spells. Pretty tough. Pretty tough. I think one of the best ways how you want to actually deal with Voice of Victory is like if you have something that's not a spell that can deal with Voice of Victory. Otawara, for example. Otawara Soaring City is like one example. That maybe there are some other examples too, but yeah, you should like if you see this creature, you gotta go, okay, so how do I deal with the situation without casting a spell, right? You have to use channel abilities, you have to use activated abilities, triggered ones, like those still work. So but yeah, damn, fucking 4 off, dude. And the sideboard has like, yeah, like lots of different stuff, right? Like Sylvan Library for the grinding matchups. We have also like Flusterstorm, Veil of Summer, Force Negation, Hydro Blast, and Consigned to Memories, like all solid counter spells and protection spells. The Haywire Might is interesting in the sideboard. I like it a lot. You can blow up any like enchantment permanent that you find like annoying. You can get it off Saga, pretty nice. Same goes for Ghost Vacuum, very nice. Inclusion and the Pith Needle too. So like all these 3 can be retrieved off Ursa Saga. Solid stuff. Yeah, if there was a tournament tomorrow, if there was like a high stakes tournament tomorrow, this is one of the best choices, I think, for a Legacy tournament. I am even tempted to sleep this one up because it can be as fast as like turn 2, turn 1 Shuko, turn 2 Cephalid Illusionist, GG. It can also grind, and especially sideboard with Carpet of Flowers and Sylvan Library, like you can kind of become this, like, you know, I side out all the Cephalid Illusionists and kind of become this like band Nadu Voice of Victory like value deck. So cool deck list. All right, next one is Izzet Murktide. I don't think this needs a lot of introduction. The only new thing to the blue-red murktide deck is Core Steel Cutter. If you watched my last video on YouTube, yeah, just like browse it on my channel. It should be like the new, I think the second newest one or so. I tried out Core Steel Cutter in blue-red murktide. I had a lot of fun playing it. But honestly though, I don't know if this card's good enough in Legacy. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think there are... Okay, so first of all, there are games where you have your turn 2 Core Steel Cutter, you cast Mishra's Bauble, you immediately get a Monk that's attacking and like everything looks great. And then you follow up with like Ponder into Lightning Bolt and you get another one, blah blah blah. But sometimes in the late game, mid-late game, you draw Core Steel Cutter and you almost don't have any cards in hand. And then like this card doesn't really do anything. It's similar to Young Pyromancer, right? Like you guys remember, like sometimes Young Pyromancer, it was ridiculous because you chained all the cantrips and you made like millions and millions of elementals. But sometimes in the late game, you top deck Young Pyromancer and you're like, dude, like this doesn't really do shit. So especially in Legacy, where I think for Core Steel Cutter to be excellent in your deck, you need card advantage. You need card advantage, which you also see right here, stock up. So this is like a nice combo. But you need cards in hand. You need lots and lots of cards in hand for Core Steel Cutter to be good. So it's yeah, that's like my my thoughts on that card. But like other than that, I think this card is very nice. So what else? Yeah, the sideboard. Oh wow, Strix Serenade in the sideboard. Wild. This is from this deck is from Kuriwa Taira from Haruya Osu. He made top 8. Strix Serenade isn't really interesting choice. Don't see this often in tempo decks. Huh. Okay, we have Disruptive Flute. We have another Core Steel Cutter in the sideboard. Like what you can do is like against decks with lots of removal, you can take out a couple of Tamios and DRCs, and you can bring in Core Steel Cutter to like have like most like sticky threats. I don't dislike it. And then yeah, Brotherhoods and Meltdown. You gotta be careful though, because Core Steel Cutter is an artifact. So like if you play your Meltdown, just make sure to not hit your own cards, right? Okay. Then next up, Sneak and Show. Sneak and Show, and there's also Omni Show down there. They got a massive boost just very recently. Stock up. If you follow my YouTube content and my streams from like the last month or so, you notice that like I have been a big stock up believer, and I had an insane run. I think I had like a 10-0 league, a perfect 10-0 record. If you missed that, definitely check it out in my previous videos on YouTube. It's down there. Like we didn't drop a single game. I had an insane run. So, but yeah, like now people are more prepared. They know to expect stock ups as a key card in this archetype. So you might see more Spell Pierces, more Flusterstorms, and like generally like the player awareness, right? People are prepared to see stock ups. So this deck has a clean mana base, a couple of Soul Lands and stuff. Mistrise Village is new. Interesting to see it as a one-off. I thought like it would see more play because it's also not a legendary land. I thought maybe you see it as a 2-off, or maybe even more. But we go with a single copy in this deck. It comes into play untapped because most of the time, because you have Volcanic Island or your Thundering Folds. And then the monsters of the choice are Archon of Cruelty, Gristlebrand, Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, and Atraxa Grunt Unifier. And yeah, stock up, you know, kind of just like hold the deck together very nicely. We have the Show and Tells and Sneak Attacks, and for Disruption we have Force of Will and Flusterstorms. A little light, I think. A little light on Disruption. Usually you see more counters. Maybe like one more or two more. But yeah. Okay. And in sideboard, I think what I tend to lose the most to against Nick and Show is like Blood Moon. Straight up Blood Moon, dude. Straight up Blood Moon. Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon. Especially like Magus also, like you take out all your removal and then they jam Magus on turn 1 or turn 2 and you kind of just die. Happens every now and then. Very powerful stuff. It's also one of the easier decks to pilot, I want to say. So if you're newer to Legacy, or maybe you haven't played Legacy in a while, you know, maybe you want to, maybe there is an upcoming ELM qualifier or maybe some other big event and you're like, I don't know, like I haven't played Legacy like in 6 months or like a year or something. This is probably one of the decks I would recommend to you, because this deck is, again, it's relatively easy to play. You just need to dump one of your fatties with Sneak Attack or Show and Tell, and you have counters and stuff, and you gotta figure it out. You know what I mean? And like Atrax is gonna like outmuscle opponents, Nethergoyfs and Tamios and stuff. So solid choice, solid choice. I wouldn't, yeah. I'm usually not a big Sneak and Show enjoyer. Like I kind of enjoy the Omnitel version more, which is like the green-blue version, a little slower. But yeah. Okay, cool. So we have the Sneak and Show deck. Next one is Mono Red Prison. And Mono Red Prison is like one of the most like quad laser looking decks, like lots and lots of 4-offs and stuff. And it looks pretty much like this. Mono Red Prison, Blood Moons, Trinispheres, Chalice of the Void, Pyrogoyf, and Broadside Bombardiers are the bread and butter. Like those guys kill, and they kill quickly. Both of them. Fury is like a very nice removal on turn 1 and turn 2, but it can also like come down on turn 3 or 4 maybe. Hard cast it with spirit guides and stuff, and you take over the game that way. You also play like the full playset of the Wandering and Fable of the Mirror Breaker to smooth out your draws and draw more cards. Very strong deck. It stumbles a little bit if you get like wastelanded like once or twice. Sometimes there are games where like, you know, you play your Blood Moon, maybe it gets countered and your opponent wastelands your Ancient Tomb and then you don't draw a land or something like that, and you know, you kind of stop right there. Those kind of games can happen. And you also don't play Force of Will, right? Like you're not a blue deck, so you might lose to Oops All Spells, and other decks then can present a very early win. So you have to be aware of those things, right? There's Leyline of the Void in the sideboard, Disruptive Flute. I'm a big fan of Disruptive Flute in Mono Red Stomp because you can cast it turn 1 with Ancient Tomb. That's good stuff. 17 lands, are you crazy? What? Oh, wait, we have 14. Hold on. We have 14 right here. Oh, yeah, and then we have the Shadow Skull Smashing and the Sundering Eruption. Right. Pyroblasts. This is like the most confusing thing. Like, I haven't really figured this out. Maybe I have to talk to someone who's really good at this deck, but like, do you always side out Chalice of the Void if you bring in Pyroblast? Or how does this work? I honestly don't know. Because like, let's say against Blue-Red Murktide, I would love to jam a Chalice of the Void X1. But then I also want to have Powder Blast to kill their Murktide region. So it's a little bit of a stretch, I think. Don't really know. Like, maybe you just keep in both and you just accept. You just accept to draw a couple of dead Powder Blasts if you have a Chalice of the Void. Yeah, it can be destroyed. And like, I've also had the situation where like it was like turn 2 or turn 3. I played a Chalice of the Void, opponent Force of Will my Chalice of the Void, and then I Powder Blast the Force of Will and then Chalice resolved, like that sort of thing, you know. Can still happen. Yeah. Yeah. So like what happens sometimes with Murktide is like you play, let's say you have Chalice of the Void and Powder Blast in your hand, right? And you play against Blue-Black Tempo, you play Chalice of the Void, it resolves, you feel really, you know, you're really nice about yourself and blah blah blah. And your opponent starts casting Ponders and Brainstorm into the Chalice of the Void like non-stop, like a madman. Only to cast a turn 3 Murktide Regent and like an 8/8 Murktide Regent with all the garbage they've thrown in the graveyard in the first 2 turns. And then you look at your Power Blast, which cannot kill the Murktide because you have your Chalice of the Void. I've had these situations a few times, right? Best case, you shoot it with Bombardiers and then blast. Oh, dude, that's a nice play. Yeah, dude, I totally forgot about the Bombardiers. Right, you can throw Chalice at your opponent. Oh man, dude, that's such an insult. You know what I mean? Like, first, you cannot cast any cards. Oh, and second, you're dead because I'm gonna throw this thing at you. Oh yeah, I'm also gonna kill all your dragons with Power Blast now that I can. That's so disgusting, dude. That is so disgusting.
Yeah, boy.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I guess that's one thing you can do. But yeah, like, is there anything to add to Mono Red Moon Stompy? Don't think so. This deck also doesn't have many bad matchups. It's relatively proactive. It's proactive, it's aggressive too. You can usually want to play a prison piece first, like Chalice, Trinisphere, Blood Moon. You want to stop your opponent first, and then you're gonna take over the game with Broadside Bombardiers and Pyrogoyfs, and even like a hardcast Spirit Guide is sometimes good enough to win the game. It's not beautiful, but you know, it's what you got, right? Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, very powerful. It also won the Asian Eternal Weekend last year, so it has crazy good play against Eldrazi decks because you turn all their lands into mountains. They have a hard time casting Kozilek's commands and stuff. So best feeling against Oops All Spells, Moon and Chalice on 0. Phew, dude, that's nasty. That is nasty for sure. Last deck we're gonna talk about, actually, no, I wanna talk about 2 more decks. I don't know why Oops All Spells is all the way down here, but next deck is just Reanimator. Just letting you know, this is, oh no, actually let's skip this. This is just kind of the same as the first deck. Yeah. Let's talk about Oops All Spells, right? Oops All Spells is a deck that kills mostly on turn 1 or turn 2. And it has 0 lands, and you just mill your entire library, right? So you find your Battlefield Spy or your Undercity Informer, you crack it, mill your entire deck, and then you get Narcomi Buzz. You have the Dread Return somewhere into a Lethal Thassa's Oracle, and you can do this very fast, like on your, as I mentioned, like on your first turn. And this deck also is the reason why you see more Leyline of the Voids these days. you need... It's a little similar to Bazaar of Baghdad Dredge in Vintage. Like, you need Graveyard Hate, like, immediately. So, like, cards like Rest in Peace, for example, or Containment Priest are nice, but I think they're a little bit too slow. So, hey, yo, Martin, what's up, dude? We've just been talking about, like, the Legacy meta game, you know, like, what decks to expect and stuff. And also, bonus, we're gonna talk about, a Sultai Doomsday deck that went top 8 in the Bazaar boxes just last weekend, so... Alright, yeah, so this is from the 186 KMC Team Legacy event at the Tournament Center in Osaka by Mauricio Mariota. I think I played against this player a few times, not many times, because again, he's from Osaka, but sometimes the Osaka people also come over to Tokyo, and we have good games, so that's very cool. I think what sticks out to me in his particular build is that there are Goblin Charbelchers already in the main deck. There's a 3-1 split with Charbelchers, dude. 3-1. And this is how, like, you get them, like post-sideboard especially. But what ends up happening is, like, you kill your opponent on turn 1, because that's what your deck does. Your opponent's not prepared against unknown opponents. Like, people, even Force of Will decks don't always have the Force of Will in hand, right? So, like, sometimes you can sneak out and win. You've Cabal Therapies too, if you really want to. And then sideboard, post-sideboard, what ends up happening is that people bring in Leyline of the Void, Ghost Vacuums, Fairy Macabre, Surgical Extractions. I don't know. Did I miss anything, chat? Anything else? I don't know, Doughty Void Walkers, maybe. Stuff like that. And that's when the Goblin Charbelcher really kicks in, because this card does not care about your graveyard, like, at all, right? It's clunky, because it costs 4 mana to cast, and it costs 3 mana to activate, so it's combined 7 mana, which is much, much more than a Balustrade Spy. And a lot of the times, like, you cast Goblin Charbelcher and you pass the turn, right? You have to pass a turn. It's not the easiest task to get 7 mana in one turn. But yeah, we have the Charbelchers in the deck, in the sideboard. Force of Vigor to deal with, like, Leylines of the Voids and other stuff. Yeah, and then, like, check this out. 4 Fairy Macabres and 4 Surgical for the Mirror. Dude, this is insane. This is simply insane. This, like, 8 cards for the Mirror. Are you kidding me? But yeah, definitely the deck, like, this is the most explosive combo deck in Legacy right now. And if you are, yeah, if you want to head to a Legacy tournament, you have to respect this deck. You have to. And you don't win against this deck by having, like, one single Surgical Extraction in your sideboard. Like, this doesn't stop this deck. They have Pact of Negation 2, they have Cabal Therapies 2, they have Goblin Charbelchers as a plan B, and yeah, I think you need a little more against Uppsala spells to beat it. So yeah, and then that's pretty much it. That's the Legacy meta game as for May 2025. If there was a tournament tomorrow, like, as I mentioned, I would definitely pick up a deck, maybe Cephalid Breakfast. I'd probably also take a look at Doomsday. Doomsday is, like, my favorite deck of all time, so whenever I can, I would always try to play Doomsday. On the where is it? At the ELM qualifier in Luxembourg last week, I did play Doomsday, and I also made top 8. I think I made top 4 or so. Had a good run. I played against Blue-White Stiflenaught. I played against Merfolk. I played against blue-black tempo. I played against Sultai Beans. I played against... Was it Sneak and Show? Oh man, I kind of forgot. But I thought I played against a combo deck at some point. But maybe not. But yeah, but my point is that, like, the Legacy is still a Wild West. And as you can see, like, there's so many archetypes, right? Like, you go to a tournament, it is possible that you get paired against Slivers, into Nick Fit, into 12 Post, into Tron. Or, like, why the fuck is Tron on this page? Anyway. I'm kind of big on Tempo Doomsday. Dude, me too. So, not every time, but, like, every now and then, I sneak in a little leak with Tempo Doomsday. And I just, like, one of the coolest things with Tempo Doomsday is that people bring in, like, you see their openness with, like, force negation, and blah, blah, blah. And then you play a Murktide region. It's like, it's that easy, you know what I mean? Like, like you can figure out all these, like, complex Doomsday lines, but you can also just play a Murktide region every now and then and just win the game. Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, like oh shit, did I miss the Poxwalkers? Yeah. So Poxwalkers and Narcomoebas are basically the creatures that come into play post Battlestrade Spy, right? It gets a little tricky. I don't think, like, they have figured out a plan how to beat Surgical Extraction or Fairy Macabre, because they use, like, Jack-O-Lantern and kind of get around your hate, right? Barogoyfs, Tamios, and Boboys in the main. Oof, that's a lot of stuff. No Murktides? Are you sure you don't want to play Murktides? Like one or two at least? Barogoyfs are huge too. Barogoyfs can single-handedly beat Tempo. Yeah. Like, Barogoyf, like, usually becoming like a 4/5, 5/6 sometimes if you have, like, Lotus Petals or shit like that in your graveyard. And yeah, you can completely out muscle, like, this deck, for example. Izzet Murktide, Barogoyf fucks on this deck. It really does. And they can't do anything against Barogoyf too, because, like, all their Lightning Bolts are not gonna do stuff against them. Difficult to kill. It's relatively easy to daze though. That's the only, like, downside of Barogoyf, is that it is a 3-mana creature, right? But yeah, like, as Doomsday plays, like, Petals and Rituals, like, you can, yeah, I guess you can like Dark Ritual out of Barogoyf and have it, like, what, like, reasonably sized on turn 2. Like, the worst thing that can happen to your Goyf is if it's a 2/3 with an instant in your graveyard, because then your opponent can Lightning Bolt the Barogoyf. Like, you basically, I mean, it's relatively easy, right? Like, we used to do this with old Canadian Threshold Mirrors too. If you play the Canadian Mirror, Rock Delver versus Rock Delver, and you play your Tarmogoyf, you want to make sure that the Tarmogoyf survives Lightning Bolt. That was one of the key rules for the Mirror, because if your Tarmogoyf gets Lightning Bolted and then they play their Tarmogoyf, then their Tarmogoyf is gonna be bigger because your Tarmogoyf already died, and yeah, it's like a big shit show. So all right, let's take a look at this Sultai Doomsday, but by Juice DB. I hope I didn't butcher your name, buddy. This is from the Bazaar of Boxes Series 15 on May 3rd, 2025. So this is only 5 days ago. And they went 5-1-2 in the Swiss. Congratulations. This is a good run. 62%. Is that win percentage? I don't know. I don't know if it is, but this is the deck. This is the deck and how it looked like. So let's go over this deck list just really quickly. We got the Doomsday, obviously, Ponder Brainstorm, Dark Ritual, Force of Will, all key cards, Veil of Summer, 4 off. Okay. I do like Veil of Summer, but I don't know if I want 4 copies in a main. This is so much, dude. Imagine if you play against like Moonstompy and you have an opener with like 2 Veil of Summers. And the like Veil of Summer, it's difficult, right? Because like if the card is dead, you can't even pitch it to Force of Will. It's literally a dead card. But yeah, let's move on. So 4 Lotus Petals, 2 Street Wave, 2 Edge of Autumn. So we have combined 4 Cyclists, 2 Thassa's Oracles, 2 Personal Tutors. I don't think you need 2 Thassa's Oracle anymore. I think even Wonder Pro started playing like 1 Thassa's Oracle, 1 Jace Wheel of Mysteries in the main. I've been doing the 1-1 split in the main likes for the majority of 2024. Oh no, Martin, I think you and I like we came up with this on the second, was it like summer 2024 or so, in preparations for Eternal Weekend, because there was so much consigned to memory that we've already wanted to beat it in game number 1. And like I also won the first game against Cephalid just because I had the Jace in the main deck. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So I don't know, like you can play 2 Thassa's Oracle and a Jace in the sideboard, but I'm saying like you don't have to. I think if you play a 1-1 split, 1 Thassa, 1 Jace in the main, you also free up a sideboard slot. So this is I feel a little unnecessary, but you know, it worked out for him. So 2 Personal Tutors, 2 Preordains, 2-2 split on them. You can do this. I think this is like a little bit like mid-rangey-ish. Like Luca Fasoli from Italy plays it like this, I think, most of the time. Like Preordains, a lot of them. And then just a few Personal Tutors. I know this card sucks to draw in multiples. I get that. But at the same time, you also want to, you know, keep velocity, right? Like you want to put Doomsday on this deck somewhat soon, right? Against certain decks, like Prison, for example. Any Chalice of the Void deck, like you're happy to Personal Tutor turn 1 for Doomsday and then play this one on your second turn. 2 Thoughtseize, a single Daze, 1 Consider, and 1 Lion's Eye Diamond. And I think this is 17 lands? I think so. Let's see. 1, 5, 8 fetch lands, deltas, misties, 4 underground seas, 1 bayou, 1 tropical island, 1 undercity sewers, 1 island, 1 cavern of souls. That's a lot of lands. Like usually, like when I build Doomsday decks, I try to go for 14, 15 lands ish. I don't think I've ever played more than 15 lands in my Doomsday deck, like ever. But it also depends on your configuration, right? Like, because this is not everything. You have to look at the entire 75 to kind of you know, come up with like arguments for like why you run this many lands. And like, you know, the argument is right there in the sideboard, like 4 copies of Barrogoyf, and Barrogoyf is much like, yeah, like much easier to cast and more reliable if you have a rock solid mana base with 17 lands against tempo. Cause like as you mentioned, like you can Dark Ritual out the Barrogoyf, but I think what's even better is if you just make your land drops every single turn and then you keep hard casting Barrogoyfs for actual lands without using any like rituals and stuff. So I do like, so if you told me there was like none of this in the sideboard, but you had 17 lands, I would kind of question it and go like, okay, like why do you place this many lands? I would probably cut a few and opt for more speed. Like Cabal Ritual is an excellent way to boost Doomsday, even through a Chalice of the Void X1. So there is that. But yeah, given how like how the sideboard looks, like Carpet of Flowers, Barrel Ghost, like this deck definitely wants to do a plan B-ish thing post sideboard, and the high land count definitely works out, I think, in this specific scenario. Thomas Crepaldi already talk about a TES and NT. Not yet, not yet. Oh. Extra lands is also because Veil is a slower form of interaction. You're right. You're right. Like burning a Lotus Petal for Veil of Summer is not particularly exciting. Sometimes that's what you gotta do, but it's not pretty. This main deck is based on an unpublished Wonder Pro deck in his match versus Eureka. Was it unpublished? Oh man, like, yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I'm totally in love with Jace these days. I almost ready to say I think it's incorrect to not have the 1/1 split in the main. Dude, my thoughts exactly. I generally believe that Jace Wheel of Mysteries is a real legacy card. As long as Pyroblast is not that popular, right? But as we talked about the legacy metagame right now, there are not many Pyroblasts in legacy right now. Sometimes Blue-Black Tempo splashes for like 2 blasts or so, but that's not a big concern, I think. So yeah, dude, I'm so down for Jace. There's lots of flutes as well, having choices for that. Yeah, Disruptive Flute can be very nasty. Sometimes, you know, you Doomsday resolves and an opponent top decks a flute and name Thassa's Oracle and you die. Good point, good point. Yeah, no, you should definitely, definitely keep it around. The one downside of Jace is its mana cost, right? 4 mana, kind of terrible. The 3 blue pips are also like don't make it easier. Man, like if this Jace had more synergy with Dark Ritual, it would be so insane. If you could like Dark Ritual out Jace Wheel of Mysteries, that would skyrocket this archetype like almost like 1 tier up, I want to say, because it would completely break like your opponent's hate, right? Like how opponents are gonna interact with you. Because it's already difficult to counter Doomsday, given like how many like Forces, Thoughtseize, and Veil of Summers and stuff you have right here. So if I lose with Doomsday, it's rarely because Doomsday didn't resolve. It's mostly because they found Disruptive Flutes maybe to actually stop me from casting my win condition, or maybe they got a fast clock and I just died, or they have some random endurance, for example, I didn't think of, and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and like, dude, so I had it the other day where I had a pile with Jace Wheel of Mysteries and LED and Cyclers and stuff, and my opponent had like this soul read on me, and he consigned to memory my Lion's Eye Diamond. Ah, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. And I think maybe it's like a matter of like time when legacy players are gonna pick up on that tech, you know, when they go, okay, so if they cast an LED to get to 4 mana, maybe I should not call the consign to memory for Thassa, because there is no Thassa. Maybe I should consign to memory the LED right now. And if that gets more popular, then the Doomsday players have to think, okay, well now how do we make a pile that beats that, you know? And like, so you could, I don't know, dude, like if they consign to memory your Lion's Eye Diamond, like your Thassa is free all of a sudden. So it's like a big like mishmash, right? Like you have to kind of like next level your opponent, I think, on things. It's but it's not like there is no like guaranteed recipe how you always win with Jace, right? Because there are ways to deal with Jace, and the main reason why you want to play Jace is to beat consigned to memory, but the enabler for Jace, which is Lionside Diamond, in most cases can be consigned. Okay, maybe I shouldn't talk about this too much, because then more people are gonna be aware of this situation, right? But yeah, Force Negations in the sideboard, Couple of Flowers, Duress. Big fan of Duress extra discard. I think we could have also gone for more Thoughtseizes maybe, but yeah, I don't hate the Duresses. Grafticus Cages. Sure. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah, so overall, wait, hold on. What? Isn't like the blue count insanely low with this deck? For Force of Will, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 blue cards only. Phew. This is so low. This is so low. I personally not feel comfortable playing a Doomsday deck with only 20 blue cards. Like my sweet spot is like somewhere around like 20, between 22 and 24. If you can play that many blue cards, that's like the kind of like requirement, I think, for a reliable Force of Will, right? Other than that, like you might end up in situations where you have the Force but you don't have a pitch. And I think the main reason why this particular deck is so low on blue cards is this Veil of Summer, like 4 copies of Veil of Summer. Don't know. Yeah, dude, have a good one, Martin. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, boy.
All right, cool. See ya. Yeah, so if I had to rate this Doomsday deck on a scale from 1 to 10, oh man, I think, dude, I would give it a 7. There are just too many things I would question. Yeah, so first thing, like why isn't Jace in the main deck? Second is like, do we need 4 Veil of Summers in the main deck? This feels a little bit like you can play Veils and like you can play like 2/2, you know, you can play 2 copies in the main, you can play 2 in the sideboard if you really need them, but having a potential dead card as a 4-off in the main deck, I'm just not a big fan of this. There are also I think there's a little bit too much, yeah, like too many lands. I get that there are Barrogoyfs. But the thing is, like, you don't even have to play Barrogoyfs in Doomsday. Like, you can, but you don't have to. Like the Tubo Doomsday deck. Let me just show you real quick. Is this the deck I play? Yeah, this is the deck I played at the ELM qualifier in Luxembourg. To our top 4 finish, and let's make this a little smaller. Okay, just like this. All right, cool. And like, I wouldn't say that this deck is a 10 out of 10. It's difficult, right? Because like I build it, and I like this is like how, like, where I like to be. And there might be other Doomsday players who are like, who look at this and go like, dude, like what is this garbage, trash pile kind of thing. But I played so much Doomsday that, like, just like Martin Nielsen and I, like we've been, I don't know, I feel it's like part of our DNA, you know what I mean? Like playing Doomsday, the Doomsday lifestyle is just like part of our lives. I'm down to like 15 lands. I played 2 Dazes. You can always, like, you can keep 1 landers. It's no problem. You can pick up the same Underground Sea, replay it, stuff like that. There are 3 copies of Personal Tutors. There's 1 single Preordain. You have 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Dazes, Knight's Whisper, 2 Cabal Rituals, Thassa and Jace as a 1-1 split, as I mentioned. Deep Analysis for extra fast kills against Moonstompy and Eldrazi's and stuff like that. Very handy in the first game. And this is something that not many players go for, but it's the 6 cyclers. Ever since I picked up 6 cyclers in 2021, I think is the first time when I did it. I haven't really looked back. Cyclers are the bread and butter of this deck, and like the reason why Doomsday works. So having 6 of them, this is like the same amount of like 0 mana draw card effects as Vintage Doomsday. So Sideboard has there's no plan B in this deck, so you only win with Doomsday. There are 2 Flusterstorms, there are 3 Force Negation, there's a Lotus Petal, an Island against Magus of the Moon, a single Leyline. Couldn't fit more Leylines, unfortunately. I would love to play a 2nd copy or a 3rd Leyline. Hey, yo, Francis, what's up? What should I play tonight at Legacy? I think you should play this. Cephalid Breakfast, I think. I think that's your cup of tea. I mentioned it like a little earlier. Oops. Dude, check out this deck. This deck list has the playset of Voice to Victory. Dude, this is insane. Dude, you gotta play this. What do we have? 20 lands including sagas. And then like we go full on the combo. We have 2 Shukos, and then like Quad Laser on Cephalid, Illusionist, Nadu, and Nomads. And then also the Quad Laser playset on Voice of Victory, dude. 4 copies of this, dude. Hilarious. It's a 5-0 deck list from the tournament center in Tokyo. I think this is your deck, dude. This is your dude. A 4. Yeah, like, do you know how difficult it is to interact with Voice of Victory? This guy always resolves. Like, how can you ever counter this guy? It's only Force of Will. Like, all the other counters in Legacy cannot hit this dude. Yeah, I had the same reaction. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why do you play this as a 4-off? It's insane. It is insane. It blew my mind. But yeah, like much better than Orym's Chant, I want to say. Because Orym's Chant can be countered like so easily. Like Flusterstorms, Force Negation, you name it. But Voice of Victory just sticks. Boom. Period. Yeah, and then the sideboard is like whatever. Like you can come up with like any type of stuff, I guess. There's no secret recipe. I do like the Sylvan Library, I gotta say. I do like the Sylvan Library against any slow deck that doesn't run Oakish Bowmasters, maybe. What should we bring versus Breakfast these days with Journey Pack? So one weakness of this particular deck is that it doesn't run many counters, right? It's only 4 Force of Will. There is no Daze, no Spell Pierce, or like any other disruption. Because this list focuses so much on its own combo that if you play Doomsday against this deck, I'd be very, very happy to play against this deck, I think. Because Doomsday almost always resolves. And you could also... And I would probably never cut the Deep Analysis package. I think if you have to race them, and if the Doomsday resolves, which it mostly does, then you have to you have to win on the same turn, dude. You have to get going, right? You cannot pass, I think. You shall not pass. But yeah, very interesting. So again, if there's a large tournament today, tomorrow, so like this is it. This is insane. And if you are a Doomsday gamer just as I am, then you should probably play this. Snuff Out is also an excellent card versus Cephalid Breakfast. I just added 2 copies to the sideboard. I'm a big fan of this card. Kills pretty much anything for 0 mana. And you kind of get away with, like, you buy so much time if you play Snuff Outs. And then there are 3 more. The rest, 2 Cabal Rituals in the sideboard too. Against Chalice of the Void decks and decks where you need to be faster. Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't make a change in this deck list, I think. Thorn of Wrath, what's up, dude? Doomsday players telling me to not play Daze or Chant. Okay. Yeah. Well, did I mention that I'm a Doomsday player? Wait, what? Dude, you're not gonna play against Doomsday. You're gonna play against, like, Blue-Black Tempo all the day. Alright, okay, yeah. Of course, you can, like, Chant walking some Chalice players is a thing. Playing Upkeep, Orange Chant to kind of, like, time walk your opponent is a thing. But let's be real, like when, like, how often does it realistically happen, right? Maybe it happens, like, every now and then. But if you compare that to, like, a Voice of Victory against blue decks where the only answer is Force of Will, then, you know, I think, like, you have to kind of, like, evaluate, right? Like what's more important, what more valuable for your deck. Ey, Phil, was geht, Mann? Danke für die Tokens, amigo. Geil, ja, Mann. Freut mich. Warte.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, is there anything else? Okay. Oh shit, dude. It's okay, dude. I've been talking for more than an hour, I think, at this point. All right, you know what, guys? I think we're gonna do the Storm. I wanted to play some Storm, but we're gonna play some Storm maybe tomorrow or on Saturday, or so. I will do it on a separate stream. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. And this is Legacy metagame in May 2025, and I talked about, like, the major decks, like decks you're definitely gonna face,
Thanks for your
and stuff. You know, like, you gotta be prepared to beat these decks, right? Francis, what's up? Thank you so much for the resub. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Second Flames, what's up, dude? Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, if you missed the first half or, like, of the stream, then you can always rewatch it on either my YouTube channel, SAWATARIX, or you can go ahead and go to Twitch and probably find it somewhere in the Twitch Watts. And I will hopefully be able to play some Ad Nauseam Tendrils very soon. But yeah, if you got any questions, you also, like, know how where to reach me. I also started a Blue Sky account. Pretty cool. All right, find me there as well. It's all SAWATARIX. And did I miss anything? I don't think so. Okay, with that being said, I think it is time to say thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure talking about Legacy, the Legacy metagame. And also, in a few days, the new episode of Every Eternal is gonna drop, our podcast. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify mainly. And this was probably one of the best episodes we've done so far, because Julian, Callum, and I, we picked the worst of the worst Legacy decks of all time. Dude, we picked the worst of the worst Legacy decks of all time, and we talk about them, right? So that's what we did for almost 2 hours. We brought the jankiest jank that was ever submitted to a real tournament, like Star City Games, Grand Prix, stuff like that, you know, and we talk about them. And believe me, if you ever think that your deck is trash, don't worry, because there are dozens, if not thousands, of, like, hot garbage piles out there. So, yeah, you're not alone, right? Cool. Let me see if I can find another Twitch streamer so I can boost you guys over. But if you don't have any questions or anything, then I will see. Can I? Oh yeah, Numot the Nami is playing some draft, I think. So I'm gonna boost you guys over there. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. It was me, Kai Sawatari, aka SAWATARIX. I hope you had a good time, and we will see each other very soon again. So please take it sleazy, And I'm out of here.
Ultra.
Sure.
Ja, schöne Lights geturnte Seiten. Ja, so viel Möglichkeiten. Wow. Neues Sound für teure
Hey, what's up? My name is SAWATARIX, aka SAWATARIX. I'm a Magic player and I paint tokens for other MTG players.
Brainstorm.
Red and blues from behind. Move slow. We from where red lights mean go. Green lights mean faster. Red and blues from behind. Move slow till they pass you.
Stoneforge Mystic Activation.
Sure.
Und den Germ Token bringe ich rein.
Nein.